Interviewing is one of the highest risk things that we do for legal issues. That's probably the greatest place where schools are sued, is over hiring and firing. The HR kinds of questions, human resources. So we're cautious in the process, but there's no one question that you can ask that tells you for sure that this is someone who will fit right in here. I like doing as much prep work as possible. Whenever there's someone who's currently in a classroom, finding a way of seeing them in a classroom, of course, gives you a great idea of how they're going to work, generally speaking. Knowing the situation of why they're moving on, how many places they've moved on from, that usually is another good indicator of what they're looking for in life, and whether or not they'd be someone who you'd want to bring in for the long term in your school. For lead teachers, asking questions about their understanding of Montessori education. They should be able to give lots of information about how they conceive of running their own classroom, what their thoughts are on the child, what their thoughts are on normalization. Giving them some questions that help them to think and really make them work a little bit and show their professional strength is important. But at the same time, I know that there are phenomenal teachers out there who might not be able to give the best academic answer, but can do it in practice beautifully. A lot of it is developing a good gut for it, and then being humble enough to know that there's always a good chance that you're wrong. How comfortable are they talking with adults? How comfortable are they in their own skin and talking about something that's more contentious or trickier to walk around? I'm an advocate for multiple people talking to someone who's come for an interview so that there are more than one perspective from a school. If it's a larger school, you want to have a few different people weighing in on how this person related and what their feel was on it. Asking tough questions, asking questions that force them to explain how they would handle different situations, how they have handled them in the past. The words that they use and their body language very often will give you the leads into really whether or not this would be a good match for your school. I like setting expectations, just like for a new prospective family. A tour is a great opportunity to talk about the long-term goals. The initial interview is a nice place to talk about what the basic expectations are for people as a part of this community. And outlining that this is a place where we care a lot about what we do and we're going to ask you to do a lot. If you're a part of this community, we expect that you're fully in and you're fully involved. And I feel like it's something that we have to be honest about if that's the way our school works. And good schools typically ask more of their staff and expect more of their staff than the place down the street that anyone could walk in and get a job. There's some sense of importance then in the process, and for those who it really isn't a good match for, they can get a sense of that pretty quickly by the questions that you ask, but also by the expectations that you set forth. Most internships these days are paid internships where the student teacher is working as an assistant in the school, as well as getting their student teaching requirements met. And so that's a little bit more of a negotiation and a collaboration in many ways. I find schools like to hire interns because it helps them to reconsider what they believe. And it helps a veteran teacher to also freshen herself up and think about what's current in research, what's currently being talked about in Montessori teacher education. I know for veteran teachers, that's often one of the most cited benefits of having an intern is she brought in new articles and he gave new ideas for ways that we could run this area based on this session by so-and-so. They make direct links to what they've heard about in their coursework to what's going on in the classroom. Same with this idea of record keeping. I've had more than one experienced teacher saying, I was really happy to see that record keeping is a requirement now for student teachers in the classroom, and because of that, we had a great dialogue and have come up with this new format. And we're still tweaking it, we're still refining it, but it's something that's in process now, where before, it might have just been her feeling the full burden, or him feeling the full burden of taking all of the notes and keeping track of all the students' progress on the checklists.